In a significant display of solidarity, Chinese President Xi Jinping and Russian President Vladimir Putin held a virtual meeting on January 21, 2025, just hours after Donald Trump's inauguration as the 46th President of the United States. This meeting, characterized by warm exchanges and diplomatic affirmations, signals a deepening of ties between the two nations amid shifting geopolitical landscapes and external pressures. The call, lasting approximately 1.5 hours, began with both leaders exchanging New Year greetings as the Chinese Spring Festival approaches. She expressed enthusiasm for their virtual engagement, reflecting on the fruitful discussions they had in the past year, which included 3 face-to-face meetings in 2024, marking the 75th anniversary of diplomatic relations between China and Russia. The bilateral relationship, based on lasting good neighborliness and friendship, has shown renewed vitality, she remarked, highlighting the momentum in trade and cooperation between the two countries. Putin reciprocated the sentiments, referring to Xi as a dear friend and emphasizing that Russia and China are building their partnership on mutual trust and support irrespective of external pressures. This camaraderie stands in stark contrast to the tensions with the West, particularly as Trump has recently threatened tariffs on China and warned Russia of consequences if it does not negotiate an end to the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. The two leaders discussed a range of topics, including the situations in the Middle East, South Korea, and Taiwan. She reiterated the importance of deepening strategic coordination and mutual support to safeguard their legitimate interests in light of external uncertainties. He indicated a readiness to guide the China-Russia relationship to new heights in 2025, a year that coincides with significant historical anniversaries, including the 80th anniversary of the victory in World War II. Trade between China and Russia has flourished, reaching a record $240 billion in 2023, a remarkable increase of over 64% since 2021, prior to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Both leaders expressed a commitment to enhance this economic collaboration further. Putin noted, "Our cooperation serves the interests of both peoples and has remained resilient despite changes in the international landscape." He also affirmed Russia's support for China regarding Taiwan, signaling a united front against perceived Western encroachments. While the meeting appeared to be a reaffirmation of their alliance, it was also a strategic move in the context of Trump's administration. According to Yuri Ushakov, a foreign affairs advisor to Putin, the leaders confirmed their willingness to engage with the U.S. on a mutually respectful basis should the Trump administration express interest. However, Ushakov clarified that the timing of the call was not directly related to Trump's inauguration. As Xi and Putin agreed to maintain strategic communication throughout the year, the implications of their strengthened partnership extend beyond bilateral relations. The collaboration is positioned as a counterbalance to Western influences, particularly at a time when both nations face scrutiny and sanctions from the U.S. and its allies. Looking forward, the dynamic between China and Russia is poised to evolve alongside global political currents. Both leaders have called for a reinforcement of international stability and fairness, aligning their efforts to support the United Nations-centered global governance system. As they anticipate further collaboration in multilateral forums such as BRICS and the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, the world watches closely to see how their relationship will shape the geopolitical landscape in the coming years. In a significant diplomatic move, Russian President Vladimir Putin and Chinese President Xi Jinping have reaffirmed their commitment to enhancing bilateral cooperation, a dialogue that comes just a day after Donald Trump was inaugurated as the U.S. president. This interaction underscores the evolving geopolitical landscape and the growing ties between Moscow and Beijing, particularly in the context of increasing global uncertainties and the shifting dynamics of U.S. policy. During their call, which was publicly acknowledged through a Kremlin transcript, Xi addressed Putin as a dear friend and expressed his desire to elevate the Sino-Russian partnership to a new level. He emphasized the importance of collaboratively safeguarding the United Nations-centered international system and defending the post-World War II global order. "This year I am ready together with you to elevate Chinese-Russian relations to a new level to counter external uncertainties," she stated, highlighting the strategic nature of their alliance amidst global tensions. Putin reciprocated Xi's sentiments, reinforcing the notion that the depth of Russia-China relations transcends domestic political changes and global circumstances. These ties are self-sufficient, he remarked, indicating a resilience that suggests both nations are prepared to navigate the complexities of international relations together. The backdrop to this renewed commitment is significant. Since the onset of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, China's support for Moscow has intensified. In fact, prior to the invasion, the two leaders had famously declared that there were no limits to their cooperation. This growing partnership raises questions about the implications for global governance, particularly as Trump had previously signaled a tough stance on China during his presidency, coupled with a desire to engage with Russia in negotiations regarding Ukraine. On his first day back in office, Trump criticized Putin for the ongoing war, accusing him of destroying Russia. This declaration highlights the potential for a shift in U.S.-Russia relations under Trump's administration, which could lead to increased tensions in the already fraught geopolitical environment. Analysts suggest that this dynamic may further push China and Russia closer together as they seek to counterbalance perceived threats from the U.S. In parallel developments, Vice Premier Deng Xuexiang of China addressed the World Economic Forum in Davos, where he emphasized the need for multilateralism and inclusive economic development. His remarks mirrored the sentiments expressed by Xi and Putin, advocating for cooperative efforts to tackle global challenges such as climate change and economic inequality. Economic globalization is not a you-lose-I-win zero-sum game, he asserted, reinforcing China's commitment to being a key player in the global economy. As geopolitical alliances are reshaped, the interactions between China and Russia will likely become increasingly scrutinized. The reaffirmation of their ties signals a potential shift in global power balances, particularly as the West navigates its relationship with both nations. The coming months may reveal further developments as these leaders respond to the changing political landscape, especially in light of Trump's policies and potential negotiations regarding international conflicts. Looking ahead, the implications of this strengthened Sino-Russian relationship will be crucial. As both nations seek to fortify their positions on the global stage, the interplay of their policies will undoubtedly impact not only their domestic agendas but also the broader international order. The world watches with bated breath as these developments unfold, anticipating the responses from Western powers and the potential consequences for global stability in a rapidly evolving global landscape. The recent statements from Chinese officials at the 2025 World Economic Forum in Davos have sparked renewed interest in China's economic strategies and its role in international cooperation. Notably, Vice Premier Deng Xuexiang emphasized China's commitment to multilateralism and economic globalization, asserting that the nation is not pursuing trade surpluses but rather aims for balanced and mutually beneficial economic relationships. This stance comes at a pivotal time, particularly as the world navigates complex geopolitical tensions and economic uncertainties. Deng Xuexiang's address highlighted the importance of inclusive economic growth, stating economic globalization is not a you-lose-I-win zero-sum game, a sentiment that underscores China's vision of a collaborative global economy. He pointed out that economic globalization has historically benefited all nations involved. Citing World Trade Organization (WTO) statistics, which reveal that the total volume of global trade has grown significantly over the past decades. Between 1995 and 2022, the share of middle and low-income countries in global exports doubled, indicating that globalization has enabled broader participation in international trade. This message of cooperation was echoed by Borge Brend, president and CEO of the World Economic Forum, who expressed confidence in China's economic resilience and its long-term prospects. During an interview, Brend highlighted the importance of China's commitment to multilateralism, linking it to President Xi Jinping's earlier speeches advocating for a more interconnected and cooperative world. Brend's perspective adds weight to the narrative that despite the challenges posed by protectionism and trade wars, China remains a key player in driving global economic development. The vice premier's remarks also touched on the pressing need for a green transition, aligning with global efforts to address climate change. He outlined China's ambitious goals to peak carbon emissions before 2030 and achieve carbon neutrality by 2060. With China currently accounting for a significant portion of the world's renewable energy production, the vice premier assured that these commitments are not merely short-term goals but rather part of a long-term strategy for sustainable development. As the world grapples with major challenges such as climate change, energy security, and food supply issues, Ding urged nations to come together to tackle these shared concerns. He emphasized that only by strengthening global solidarity and pooling global efforts can we overcome the challenges and build a better future together. This call for unity resonates strongly amidst the geopolitical tensions that have characterized recent years, particularly the ongoing rivalry between major powers. Looking ahead, the implications of China's renewed focus on multilateralism and economic cooperation are profound. As nations navigate the uncertain waters of global trade and technology, China's commitment to fostering an open and dynamic business environment could serve as a stabilizing force. The vice premier concluded with an optimistic outlook for the future, stating that China's door will remain open wider than ever, inviting foreign investment and cooperation. As the global community continues to engage in discussions about economic recovery and sustainable development, the developments at Davos may mark a significant turning point. The intertwining of economic resilience, environmental responsibility, and multilateral cooperation presents a framework through which nations can collectively address the challenges of the 21st century, suggesting that the path forward will require collaborative efforts that transcend borders and foster shared prosperity in the evolving landscape of global power dynamics. Few questions loom larger than whether Chinese leader Xi Jinping will attempt to take Taiwan. His intentions are clear, rooted in a desire to solidify his legacy by achieving a goal that eluded Mao Zedong. For Xi, reclaiming Taiwan is not just about territorial control, it represents a strategic breakthrough for China that would dismantle the first island chain, a series of islands stretching from Japan to the Philippines that currently limit China's access to the Pacific. The implications of such a move are profound. Successfully acquiring Taiwan would not only enhance China's operational capabilities but also send a powerful message throughout Asia: the United States cannot protect its allies, nor can it effectively counter Chinese economic and military pressure. This shift could prompt neighboring countries to re-evaluate their alliances, potentially leading to a wave of realignments in the region. However, the question of whether the People's Liberation Army (PLA) is prepared for such an operation remains contentious. The 2024 U.S. Department of Defense China Military Power Report paints a picture of a rapidly advancing Chinese military, but it suggests that the PLA is not yet ready to mount a successful assault on Taiwan. Experts cite various logistical and operational challenges that Beijing faces, including limited periods of favorable weather for an amphibious invasion and the strategic necessity of seizing key ports, which Taiwan would likely defend vigorously. Moreover, the PLA's perceived lack of readiness has led to a litany of arguments against the feasibility of an immediate invasion. For instance, while April and October are typically seen as the only months with suitable weather, some experts argue that historical precedents, including the D-Day landings in World War II, shows that military operations can succeed under varying conditions. The argument that Taiwan's west coast has only a few narrow beaches suitable for landings overlooks the potential for innovative tactics that could circumvent these traditional challenges. In discussing the PLA's capabilities, critics often underestimate the advancements made under Xi's leadership. Over the past decade, the PLA has engaged in extensive joint training exercises, enhancing its operational proficiency. The argument that the Chinese military lacks combat experience is countered by the fact that many Western militaries have not engaged in high-intensity conflicts for decades. Additionally, claims that the PLA cannot conduct joint operations or is plagued by corruption fail to recognize the strides made in military modernization and logistics. Despite these factors, the timeline for any potential invasion remains speculative. Analysts have posited various years, 2027, 2035, or even 2049, as potential targets for Xi's plans. Yet, The notion that she would reveal his intentions in advance is dubious. Historical comparisons to past military assessments, such as the underestimation of Japanese capabilities prior to World War II, highlight the risks of complacency. As the geopolitical landscape shifts, the United States is faced with a crucial decision: acknowledge the immediacy of the threat posed by China and act accordingly, or risk being lulled into a false sense of security by a plethora of arguments suggesting that an invasion is years away. This moment of decision is critical, as Xi Jinping and the Chinese Communist Party are likely calculating their next moves based on perceived weaknesses in U.S. resolve. In conclusion, the future of Taiwan remains uncertain, with the stakes higher than ever. The interplay of military readiness, political will, and international alliances will shape the trajectory of this potential conflict. As the world watches closely, the coming years will be pivotal in determining whether Xi's ambitions will translate into reality or if they will remain a distant objective. The urgency for the U.S. and its allies to reassess their strategies and support for Taiwan has never been greater, as the implications of inaction could reshape regional power dynamics for generations to come. As the curtain rises on 2025, China's ambitious space program is poised to reshape global dynamics in ways that resonate far beyond the cosmos. With significant milestones achieved in 2024 and a strategic roadmap laid out for the coming year, China's ascent in space is not merely about scientific exploration, it is a critical component of its broader geopolitical strategy. This trajectory is emblematic of President Xi Jinping's vision to position China as a dominant force in international affairs, leveraging space technology to bolster both economic and military power. In 2024, China made remarkable strides, including becoming the first nation to retrieve samples from the lunar far side through its Chang'e 6 mission. This feat not only marked a technological milestone but also underscored China's commitment to its long-term space objectives, which aim to enhance its global standing. The Guowang megaconstellation, launched in December 2024, is another significant development aimed at providing global broadband services. This initiative aligns with China's new infrastructures policy, which seeks to enhance its digital economy while reaching underserved regions worldwide. China's Tiangong space station has also emerged as a center for international collaboration, supporting over 130 scientific projects involving more than 500 global institutions. The station's contributions span various fields, including space life science and materials science, and have resulted in numerous publications in prestigious international journals. Furthermore, the successful launch of the reusable Shenzhen-19 satellite positions China as a competitor in the reusable rocket sector, a domain traditionally dominated by American companies like SpaceX. The implications of these advancements extend into the sphere of global geopolitics. As China develops its satellite networks, including Guowang and Xianfan, it enhances its soft power by providing satellite internet services globally. Agreements like the one with Brazil set for 2026 signify China's strategic independence from Western providers such as Starlink, further emphasizing the military and geopolitical significance of its space capabilities. As we look ahead to 2025, key initiatives are on the horizon. The Tianwen-2 mission, aimed at sampling the near-Earth asteroid Kamoalawa, is set to launch this year. This mission not only highlights China's commitment to deep space exploration but also reflects its aspirations in asteroid resource utilization, an area of burgeoning global interest. Additionally, the planned launch of quantum communications satellites aims to establish a secure global communications network, reinforcing China's position as a leader in next-generation technologies. Moreover, the ambition to launch a solar power satellite by 2025 illustrates China's forward-thinking approach to energy solutions, with potential implications for global energy systems. The satellite, featuring extensive solar panels, aims to beam power back to Earth, marking a significant step in space-based energy research. China's approach to its space program is intricately linked to its broader geopolitical strategy, which seeks to challenge U.S. dominance while asserting its technological prowess. This ambition mirrors its wolf warrior diplomacy, characterized by a more assertive global stance. Collaborations within frameworks such as BRICS and the Asia-Pacific Space Cooperation Organization (APSCO) further showcase China's efforts to reshape international space cooperation, positioning itself as a leader among developing nations. As the political landscape shifts with Donald Trump's return to the White House, the dynamics of U.S.-China relations may also evolve. Trump's more unilateral approach could inadvertently provide opportunities for China to strengthen its ties with countries that have historically aligned with the U.S. This shift in focus could allow China to expand its influence in a region where its space initiatives are increasingly vital. In conclusion, China's expanding space capabilities are not just a technological triumph, they represent a fundamental shift in global power dynamics. As the nation solidifies its position in space, it challenges traditional geopolitical structures and reshapes alliances, especially in the developing world. The implications of this growing influence are profound, with potential to redefine international norms and create new geopolitical fault lines. As we enter 2025, the world will be closely watching China's next steps in this new era of space exploration and geopolitical competition.